We've had our Luxedo for a little bit over a year. I think it was February, March 2021 when we got it. And one of the things I've really appreciated about them as a company is they are trying to solve the problems that projection mappers are running into, and have been very responsive in taking suggestions, feedback on pain points that we have, and trying to find innovative ways to solve it. And so in that year's time since I first got my Luxedo and started using their software and started using their projector, these are my top 10 additions, changes, improvements that I'm most excited about. In no particular order, these are the things that I'm excited to see. The first one is Lux Omni. Now, one of the things I underestimated when I got into projection mapping is how much difference it would make to have just a little bit more brightness, a little more lumens, and a little bit higher resolution. I started with a projector that was not a 1080p, and then when I upgraded to 1080p, there was a huge difference in showing the detail of the show. And so this is one of the things I'm excited about, is now Luxedo is partnered with Optima. Optima is the projector that I've been using for our main show for Baird Manor for a while. So with that partnership, then we can have more options on what projectors, and to make sure that we can get as bright and as high of a resolution as our budget will allow. And so we can really take any of those Optima projectors and use it with Lux Omni. So that's number one for what I'm excited most about. Number two that I'm excited about is the rendering time has improved a lot. Rendering is one of those kind of necessary evils, regardless of which system you use. I remember I upgraded Adobe After Effects from 2021 to 2022, and then the rendering time shot through the roof. And I still don't know why. I still need to figure that out. And so in the meantime, I've been using an older version. And Luxedo has made some innovations there as well, so that the render times on our projects can go much quicker. Both the kind of the real-time development time rendering as we're building the show is better than it was a year ago, and rendering out the final show to play on the house is much faster. They've done some magic on the back end, I guess, to make that a better experience. Number three is the multiple projectors. This is a classic example of people in projection mapping trying to figure out a good way to use multiple projectors and have it be synchronized is a challenge. Most people are using Falcon players. I'm trying out a few different ways to make this work, and Luxedo is responding to that pain point that we're feeling, and rolled out a feature to allow for multiple projectors to sync together. And so I'm doing some separate videos on this to see how well it works. And what's cool is, from what I understand, we can do with 2 projectors, or we can do with 3. I don't know if there's necessarily a limit on how many of these we can do. So that's going to be fun to play around with, synchronizing multiple projectors through an easy to use format instead of using something like a Falcon player. Number 4 on my list of additions and improvements that Luxedo has made in a year is LuxLink. And LuxLink, I think, was in response to the consumer's requests. People that already had a projector that they liked, but wanted to use the Luxedo platform, the software, the scheduling, then LuxLink enables us to do that. It's a subscription where you can use all the stuff that Luxedo has, but bring your own projector. And that's nice as well, because then it ends up being a lower barrier to entry. You can pay a subscription to see if you like it, and kind of stick your toe in the water in the world of projection mapping to see if it's something that you're going to like and want to invest in. And so this can be done with a small budget projector as you're experimenting and seeing if you want to take the plunge, or any other projector that you already have. So that's pretty cool that they offer that. Number 5 on my list is something that they actually added pretty quickly after I started using it, and that is the option to skew objects in 3D space. Originally, it was just in 2 dimensions, where you could resize, you could rotate an item on an image or a video, but it was all in 2-dimensional space. So as soon as they added skew, then that was game changing, because then we could match it to the features of the house and have it match the perspective. It helps it appear more as augmented reality rather than just a big projector screen that we're using. Number 6 might not seem like a big deal, but it's something I use all the time, and that is the ability to undo. Control Z is something I constantly do in Adobe, and I love to have the functionality now in Luxedo as well. So Control Z to undo, that's kind of the unsung hero in projection mapping, because we're all going to make mistakes as we're going through this. So that's definitely on my list. Number 7 on my list is a new innovative way of people to listen to the show as they're driving by. The standard way that we do that is with an FM transmitter. And then that could totally work too, but I geek out over this if nothing else because it's a little more modern than an FM transmitter. And it's using Lux Radio. With Lux Radio, you can give people that drive by your show this short vanity URL, luxe.do, and then they'll have this 4-character code they can put in on their phones, and then they can listen to the show on their phones instead of needing an FM transmitter. So that's cool. I like that. Number 8 on features that they've added to Luxedo is these modifiers. And from what I understand, they're going to add additional modifiers. These are kind of like additional filters that you can do after you've created the show to add some additional effects. And so the first one they've added here is the ability to increase the brightness. And it could take a little of experimentation because with brightness and contrast, it's always a balancing act. Bright enough that people can see it, but not so bright that it washes out. But it's cool that after the show's done, I could start playing with these to dial in that balance between brightness and contrast. And I look forward to other modifiers that they might be adding. Number 9 on my list is some video editing capabilities within the tool. When I first started using Luxedo, I was doing lots of image and video prep in third-party tools like Canva, or there's some video editing tools online I was using. And now they're bringing a lot of that functionality into the tool. So if I want to remove a background of an image or a video, then I can do it right here on the media that I've uploaded. Such as trimming the video start to end. I use that quite a bit with Atmos effects videos, for example, because they're often much longer than I want for my show. So trimming the videos down, one of those little small, simple things, but it's great to be able to just do it here instead of going somewhere else. There's also the functionality to remove backgrounds. Now, removing backgrounds from videos it can be difficult, especially if the video itself wasn't designed with removing the background in mind. And so there's programs like Adobe After Effects, and DaVinci Resolve has some really cool things coming out as well for removing backgrounds. But here's something that can take at least the simple videos and pictures and remove it without having to go outside the tool. So any of these video and picture editing capabilities, I'm really looking forward to using. The last thing to round out the top 10 of things I'm excited about from improvements made in Luxedo is ability to take a show that was created outside of Luxedo. Like if you purchased one from us at Jolly Holiday Shows or Jester Laughs, Digital Pressworks, any of those great creators, you can buy their show mapped to your house and now easily use it in the Luxedo framework. Or you can just click on create and click this box to create a scene with a third-party vendor editor. And so I'm excited to test that functionality out as well. Projection mapping is still a pretty new way to decorate, at least for residential uses like what we're doing for our houses. And the technology is going to just keep improving. And so I'm excited to see what Luxedo and other individuals and companies are doing to try to make this more accessible to the rest of us and be able to do some amazing shows on our houses.